So I don't know when you're watching this, but I'm filming this on a Sunday, which means we're going to be talking civics again. Civics Sunday number 2, and for today's topic, I wanted to share a few thoughts on due process. It's a concept that really gets my nerd hackles raised, because it's a really powerful idea. So, under the Constitution, the government cannot take your life, liberty, or property without providing due process of law. And what exactly due process entails really depends on the circumstances, but in all cases, you're entitled to notice and an opportunity to be heard. Before the government takes any action against you, you need to be given notice of that action and an opportunity to respond before the action is taken. Now, even with due process, we don't have a perfect system, but I think it makes our system a lot better than it could be. It prevents the government from engaging in more or less arbitrary actions without any sort of legal justification. Due process is a way to ensure that government runs by rule of law and not whim of the people running government. And again, I guess you can argue about just how well it works, but once again, I think it's better to have it than to not. So due process doesn't apply to private entities unless there's some law that passed that makes it applicable. So this is particularly important for social media. So it seems like not a week can go by without me hearing some sort of anecdotal, this person's kicked off of social media and we don't know why. This person's YouTube channel has been demonetized and we don't know why. The social media providers seem to be acting without any regard for due process. And if we believe that social media is going to be a vehicle for the 21st century and how we communicate, how we exchange ideas, if this is the new marketplace of ideas, then I think we really need to make sure that it's as wide open as possible, even to ideas we don't necessarily agree with. Just because someone's wrong doesn't mean that they don't have a right to speak. That being said, I also think that social media companies, since they're putting up the resources to host the social media experience, they have a right to dictate under what terms their product is used. But I guess all I'm saying is maybe it comes time for a social media Bill of Rights. Maybe it's time for us to start asking our politicians to enact some legislation basically saying, if we're going to be removed from a social media platform, any social media platform, for violating their terms of service, shouldn't we at least A, be given notice of how that was violated, and B, given an opportunity to respond to the social media provider's position? It would make me feel better knowing that if someone was booted off of social media, they were given a chance to speak their piece, and they were given something, hopefully in writing, explaining, this is what you said, and this is how it violates our terms and conditions, and have that decision be precedential. You can redact the person's name, their identification, but leave up what they said as an example of this is what violates this particular social media company's terms and conditions of use, so that we know, so that we're not censoring ourselves, so that we're not limiting our ability to enter the marketplace of ideas and say things that may be controversial. Or I could be just completely off base here. I mean, it's late on Sunday and I'm tired. I'm going to be heading to bed in about an hour, so could be some holes in my logic here. But what do you think? Social media Bill of Rights guarantee that we get at least some ability to respond prior to losing their social media accounts. Good idea? Bad idea? Indifferent? Leave a comment. Also leave a like. Also, I'm Marv. Thanks for spending a moment with me. Till next time, be good to each other.